to talk South American football. Bless you, Andy. If I say the word South American football, Andy sneezes.
It's true.
Because they are really enjoying the Club World Cup in that part of the world. Less so where Andy lives in Chiswick. Good afternoon, Tim Vickery, our South American correspondent.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you doing? That's a very nice summer knit you've got on there, Paul. Can you put one aside for me when I come over next month?
Lovely. It's got, it is very Vickery, this look, isn't it?
It's very mod.
They're loving the Club World Cup there. And as you said, the crowds are really embracing it. They're giving it the atmosphere, aren't they?
Well, I think they've saved the whole goddamn thing, because you take them away, and this could easily be falling flat on its face. Even for the TV images, you've got to be able to cut to the crowd and have people who are reinforcing the thing that this matters. If not, it just comes across as an exhibition game. So they've turned up in numbers. It means everything to them. And well, there are plenty of problems with this tournament, aren't there? Lots of problems. It has to win its credibility. It has to overcome the ridiculous temperatures that we're subjecting the players to, and also these interruptions for adverse weather conditions. That's a real problem, and it could have been awful yesterday, where had Bayern Munich beaten Benfica. Then Boca Juniors would have known exactly how many goals they needed to beat Auckland by. Obviously, that didn't happen.
Terrible, aren't they? God.
Not least because Boca are too terrible to beat Auckland City.
I know.
But that's a real question for the integrity of the tournament. A real problem for the World Cup next year if this kind of thing carries on. But the people who have really got this thing going are the South American fans, and they're inspiring the players on the pitch. And so far, Boca are out a little bit humiliated, but we've got 3 South American sides through to the next round, and the other 2 trying to book their spot later on today.
But, they made a big thing out of beating Chelsea. But, for me, it wasn't a fair fight. It really highlights what's wrong with this tournament. You've got one team in the middle of their cycle, used to playing in those conditions. You've got another team flogged at the end of the European season, playing on all fronts and winning trophies. It wasn't surprising that towards, the first hour it was quite an even game. But after that...
Aren't your players a lot better than their players,
I don't think so, not necessarily, I just think...
Andy, stay. Can I give you a public health warning at this point? Stay on your side of the Atlantic, because if I try and timidly make these points on my side of the Atlantic, they're just a tirade of xenophobic abuse that I receive for this. And this is all the Europeans making excuses because they're losing. And
it'd be very interesting next summer. It could favour Ancelotti and Brazil. This, if he can get it together.
Andy wants Botafogo and others to play on a cold, windy night in Stoke and see how they get. And he really, I'm not joking, Tim. He does.
It's true.
Fly them over to Stoke.
No, if the situation had been reversed, if they'd been playing at the Bridge on a cold night in January, and they were in the end of their season, and we were in the middle, what might happen? Do you think? It's one of those.
The full might of your £1 squad would come.
Barometers of quality are neither extreme heat nor the potteries. Can we agree on that?
Yes, very much so.
Let's talk about some transfers. Igor Jesus off to Forest. The new Didier Drogba, potentially.
I've been pushing that one. I don't know if you've watched him in the Club World Cup.
A little bit, yeah.
He's a one-man forward line in the way that Drogba used to be. Because Botafogo, they've been on the back foot for quite a lot, because they were up against Paris Saint-Germain and Atletico Madrid, and they managed to get out of that group on goal difference ahead of Atletico Madrid, and he just does everything. He can hold the ball up. So if you're under the cosh, you play the ball up to him and he can hold it. He's quick and mobile. He can work the channels. So you want to play the ball behind the defensive line, he'll run onto that. He can drop deep and combine. You get service into the penalty box and he will score goals, either foot or in the air. And he defends like a madman as well. So he is just a complete package. He's a wonderful, wonderful player, wow. I think. It's a great backstory because he played a little bit in Brazil, but not for a fashionable team and not without doing a lot. And he'd ended up in the Arab Emirates. And Botafogo, whose scouting is immaculate, he was on their radar screen. They waited until his contract was over there. They brought him back last July as an unknown. By September, he's playing for Brazil. It's an extraordinary story, this one. And my only worry for him going to Forest now is that he will be flogged out, because he's been playing so much football, and so much football where he's been doing so much. He's like a one-man forward line. So I wonder if Forest might do well just to give him a little rest before plunging him in. But I think they've got a terrific player.
Well, they got Chris
Richarlison,
haven't they?
Excuse me. Yes, they have.
The other thing was Rodrigo. There's been a few stories suggesting that Real Madrid may let him go. What are they saying over there, Tim?
Yes, and it seems that the interest from Arsenal is real, and I think this could be great for both. And Rodrigo's a little bit a prisoner of his own versatility, a victim of his own versatility. I don't know if you saw. I think it was Bellingham said in the season that he's regarded as maybe the most skillful, but also the one who has to sacrifice himself most. Yeah, and I think bringing Mbappe into that team, I think it unbalanced something that they had a sweet thing going, and it hasn't quite worked. And so I think he probably needs to go to somewhere where he's higher up the totem pole. And the great thing about him is you can play him anywhere across the forward line. You can play him either wing. You can play him inside as well. You can play him as a false nine if you like. And he's so good, he will give you something everywhere he plays. So obviously, I don't don the colours of the lot from there. But I think this will be a good move both for him and the club and the Premier League should it happen.
Neymar is sticking around at Santos. Marcelo Teixeira, the Santos president, I thought was a bit low key in his response to that. He said it is an historic and remarkable day for Brazilian football, a gift for the fans of Santos FC. Our idol, our boy, the Prince with our number 10 shirt
overrated
remains.
Footballer of all time.
So he sounds keen.
Yeah, well, they've had him for 6 months. And they've got absolutely diddly out of him. Nothing. Because he's been unfit all of the time. There was a chance he was going to play the Club World Cup, especially for Fluminense, and that fell through. So he's now signed on for another 6 months. His dad, remember, they've been paying him a lot of money. His dad said, he's his business manager. His dad said, "Yeah, Neymar's come back to Santos, and it was just to recover. And if he got onto the field, hallelujah." No, it's like, what have you been paying him for? If hallelujah was getting him onto the field, what have you been paying him for 6 months? Really? So the fans just were ecstatic when he came back. That patience has been a little bit tried, not least by the fact that you see him photoed in so many off-the-field scenarios. And the test now, this is a huge 6 months coming up for him, because I imagine one of the big things about coming back was getting back in the Brazil squad for 2026. Ancelotti will have him back, but it won't be as easy as it would have been under some of the previous coaches. Right. He's going to have to prove his usefulness, I think. So this is a very, very important 6 months. If this Neymar story is going to have a chapter, all about redemption in the 2026 World Cup, we're going to have to see something, I think, in the next few months.
You won't.
Just a quick one. A little bit of time left. Estevao, he says, he's talked himself into trouble, the Chelsea youngster.
Yes,
What's he done?
Well, he's still the Palmeiras youngster.
Oh, Palmeiras.
How excited he is, isn't it?
Well, yeah, they're in the Club World Cup, and this is to quote Mr. Barry White, this is their first, their last, their everything. It's all about winning the Club World Cup. And Estevao, he did pick up a couple of those bizarrely named Man of the Match awards, but he's been good, but he hasn't been great. And he just gave an interview after the last game, saying, it's hard to focus on this, because I'm already thinking of Europe. Oh, wow. I'm already thinking of Chelsea. He has transgressed the unwritten rule of tournaments, which is there is nothing beyond the tournament. Humanity only exists until this tournament is over. So a lot of Palmeiras fans are saying, drop him. We don't want to know him no more. Wow. So, this is the first little...
he can come a bit sooner,
This is the first little crisis, little crisis in his career. Maybe it might be in everyone's best interests to have him transferred to Chelsea during the competition. Oh, yeah. But obviously that can't happen.
No, of course. What if he did? Yeah, well, anything works with Infantino.
Yeah, it's going to take him time. He's very young to be coming to London and all that.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs, Monday to Friday afternoons 1 till 4. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.